Rebecca.
Thank you. My name is Rebecca. I work at Legal Services of Northern California. I comment tonight to urge the City Council to repeal Section 93.02 and not replace the proposed ordinance. I want to start by mentioning the timing of this issue. We're in the midst of a serious public health crisis that has had enormous implications and exacerbated homelessness and poverty in our community and beyond. I appreciate the city's proclamation on National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness. Part of the proclamation includes, quote, that homelessness is not a crime, and that, quote, no one should have to worry about whether they have food on their plate or a roof over their head. I think the city has an opportunity tonight to breathe some meaning into this proclamation by not adopting the rewritten Section 93.02, which in effect does criminalize homelessness and certainly does nothing to work towards the stated goal of this proclamation. I'll briefly touch on the legal issues that I see with this ordinance, but it's more thoroughly discussed in the letter that I've submitted and may be most relevant to the city attorney. First, the proposed replacement ordinance still violates the 8th Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment by imposing criminal penalties on homeless residents of the city who have no choice but to sit, sleep, and lie on public property. The ordinance also raises due process issues. It does not provide an ordinary person with sufficient notice of what is prohibited, when, where, and by who, and awards far too much discretion to individual police officers. The issue of criminalizing the symptoms and conditions related to homelessness is one with national implications, and other municipalities' efforts to enact similar prohibitions have been met with strong interest from advocacy groups and extensive litigation. I think this liability has been acknowledged by the city attorney and should be considered seriously. Why do this now? The issue is still being litigated. The contours of what's permissible may become more clear. I appreciate the city attorney and the sergeant's comments that this would be unlikely to result in jail time and comments related to the other tools that the police would use. But to be clear, the ordinance does allow arrest, significant fines, and jail time. Also, just to be clear, excessive fines are part of the protection of the 8th Amendment. And an ordinance fining individuals for camping involuntarily does violate the 8th Amendment. I've been unable to find any data suggesting that these ordinances improve or address homelessness. Passing this ordinance is ineffective and likely an expensive step for the city to take. The city of Eureka, as demonstrated by its proclamation and many other efforts, has a clear vision and goal to address homelessness in a moral, humane, and dignified way. Rewriting an ordinance that has been found unconstitutional due to criminalizing one's status as homeless does not bode well for or appear consistent with the city's goals. I'll end by reading part of a recent decision in holding that the city's anti-camping ordinance violated homeless individuals' 8th Amendment rights. The court concludes, there are many options available to grants pass to prevent the erection of encampments that cause public health and safety concerns without violating the 8th Amendment. The court reminds governing bodies of the importance of empathy and thinking outside the box. We must try harder to protect the most vulnerable citizens. Let us not forget that homeless individuals are citizens just as much as those fortunate enough to have secure living space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.